Okay, welcome to the Rocket Launcher podcast. This is episode 27, and I am here as your host. My name is Supreme King, and I am joined by my co host, and his name is.
It's the guy Omazis.
Yes, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, man. I slept in, so I am
Sleeping.
awake. I am very much awake now.
I am too, and I am somewhat distracted by somebody sending me. I'm not supposed to be looking at my phone while I'm doing this. Sorry to
Uh-huh.
everybody out there. Thank you for
Uh-huh.
tuning in. Thank you for the newer subscribers. Thank you all for the jump in views in the past couple days. Following the big award show, I am going to talk so much about the award show today because I got 2 pages full of notes, stuff that I'm looking forward to. The biggest thing, I actually want to jump in the middle of the show real quick and pull out one thing because I'm excited about this game. It's on the screen. Well, the old game was on the screen. Remnant from the Ashes got a
Yes.
sequel announcement, and I thought that this probably for a lot of people this isn't the biggest announcement that day. It was the biggest announcement for me though, and it's instantly being pushed into like my most anticipated games going forward, honestly. As certain games are come off of that list, everybody's top 5. I've already bought God of War, so yeah, that's not in my top 5 no more. So this is going to probably replace it as most anticipated because I was not expecting this at all. It just came out of nowhere. I'm very excited for it because I played the old game. I played it with my co-host. Plenty of game footage on past episodes. I threw out some more past episode footage or new footage that y'all haven't seen. But this old game, we played this like last year, and it was just like a cool game. It definitely whooped me into shape when it came to being a Souls player. I went ahead and started playing some solo Souls games, and the biggest Souls game ever won Game of the Year. We finally got our winner. We'll talk about that towards the very end, along with the shenanigans that went on with that. But right now, Remnant from the Ashes. Big deal. I have my created character that I named, I believe, July. I was pretending she was the sister of June from Zombie Army 4 because we played it almost immediately right before it. And it was just like, yo, this game, I had the Undertaker outfit. This girl had these incredible healing powers while getting the tar kicked out of her all the time. Gunslinging all these like Souls bosses, and it was just like so unfair with all their extra enemies, but we still persevered and got through it. And then they decided they're gonna make a second game. And what was so crazy is remember my reaction. I was looking at it and I was just like, some of those assets look familiar. Until
Yep.
it just like it clicked. I was like, yo, is this really Remnant? And then when I saw it came on there, Remnant 2, I was like, yo, it's Remnant 2. And so yeah, I'm very excited about that. I wonder how my co-host feels. Go ahead and tell us.
So I'm really excited for this game. I'm not really a Souls a player, but this game definitely whipped me into shape on learning patience. I can tell you that much. Like not trying to rush into the win, being able to like figure out patterns like an enemy attacks, and it has helped on a lot of easier games where now I'm just like run shotting where they would expect the casual player to make a mistake, and it's like, nah, I got patience. But yeah, I was actually when I was watching it, it was the axe. Like somebody had an axe on their back, and I was like, that looks like an axe from Remnant. And then they were like shooting and then the
Yeah,
dodging.
yeah,
And I'm like, and I saw the gear sort of, and I'm like, yo, this does look very similar to Remnant. But in my head, it was still like, no way. And then it said Remnant 2, and I still didn't register. So I'm just like, there's no way they're getting a sequel. And looking at the logo, and I noticed the little diamond shape, which was your checkpoints
yeah.
in the game. And that's why I was like, yo, Remnant's actually getting a sequel. Like, I'm very excited for that one. That should be a very solid game.
I wish I
I don't
recorded
know, it was just
myself
fun.
watching the whole thing because it would have been good. Because that would have been the one part where I got some good footage. Because I did pop for it. I popped like a YouTuber making a fake reaction video. and I was like really happy about it because I liked it. I thought that it was one of those games where people threw it away because it wasn't from software. Because there's been a few Souls games now that's come out that were like Souls like, and I guess Souls players, they, roll their eyes at this a little bit because it's not an official from software game. It's like, I understand it because sometimes the games do something a little bit different to try to make it slightly easier or slightly an alternative in a way. And there's like, well, you're taking away from the actual difficulty or the actual essence of what a Souls game is supposed to be. And I mean, for me, just shooting and stuff, I guess you don't really do a lot of melee up close. And I know in the Souls community, a lot of super hardcores look down on the people who favor magic, which is like similar to shooting from a distance. But yeah.
So here's my thing.
Yeah.
For Remnant though, one, there is a melee build because I was building that for a while that you can stick to. So if you want to stick to the melee route and you're hesitant about checking this game, you can do that. My thing was I thought it would be easier because we get to shoot. It's Dark Souls with guns until the enemies initially just shot back. Like it was right away.
Yeah.
They would shoot back. And it's like, oh, that's not good. Yeah, now I gotta actually
showing up too. They were they would show up in the boss fights. Like if you were just focusing on the boss itself, that's one thing. But the boss will have his whole entourage of everybody you've been facing in that whole area. And so it would come off like a little unfair sometimes too, and it'd just be like out of nowhere. It's like I remember the pattern is like, okay, they're doing little things that the boss is going to do. And you're supposed to catch on to them so you can catch on to the boss later. But every now and then they used to just throw a boss out there that was just completely different from what you were doing. Cold Vein did the same thing. So I'm also asking for a Cold Vein too. I know there was a big community asking for that one too, because that one actually has a story. And I know a lot of people like a story that's driving them, but with Remnant, what I liked about it was that it was fully co-op as a Souls game where
it wasn't the whole invite a person and then if one dies then you got to get back to the point where you can invite them again, or if the host dies that's it, or thing. It was a full-on co-op experience. You could just start the game. Well, you had to do the first mission on your own to get to the base, and then right away from there you could just invite another player and play through the whole thing co-op, both chilling in the cutscenes.
Yeah, and I remember being initially very disappointed when we were going to play Cold Vein and thought that it was supposed to be a co-op as well. Because it said it had co-op, but we didn't know that it had the Souls type co-op where it's all these little conditions that you have, like what you just mentioned, and that initially soured me a little bit until I just decided let me just play it as solo, and I ended up really enjoying it as solo. But I remember just being very disappointed that it wasn't co-op, and knowing that Remnant probably is going to have co-op again. It may
they already
end up
showed
being
the 3 people thing.
Yeah,
because this was always up to third person or 3-player co-op, and they did show a scene with 3 people. That's what made me actually start thinking this could have been Remnant. Where I was like, oh, the axe looks interesting, and then it shows 3 players standing. I was like, huh, this game is really taken from Remnant, and then
yeah. So for me, I think that this might actually be a day one buy. I'm looking for. I don't know when it's actually coming out. I think it might come out next year, or it might be a year and a half or 2 years from now, or it might just be early in development. But I definitely think that's in the top 5. It slides right in as God of War slides right out. So this is one of my top 5 most anticipated. Right next to, let me see, Black Myth Wukong, obviously. So that's more Souls as well. but that's Solo. I don't
Talking
even know.
about your tops for next year.
I don't even know if it's all next year. 'Cause some of them might be further out.
Yeah.
But I do know I'm going to definitely dive into Zelda on Nintendo a little bit more. So Tears of the Kingdom, I think, was something I was going to buy right away. So that's all the way in the middle of the year. So that's May. So I got plenty of time to clean up like a backlog until then.
Well, my top ones for next year were Hogwarts Legacy, Spider-Man 2, if that's still coming out next year, and Jedi Survivor.
Mhm.
With three, those are my three. Like, oh, I gotta get these. Um, and that Remnant 2 just jumped right into that. Like, yep, that's another one. That I gotta get. Um, yeah, I'm excited for it. Another game that I'm excited for that I want to see more of, and I just want to bring it up real quick because we're talking about Souls-like games, is Another Crab's Treasure. But we'll still wait on that one.
I don't think that was shown, but
It wasn't.
I bought a lot of Souls like games since then. Some of them I'm not sure when I'll get around to. Like Thymesia was one that was like trendy for a second. I bought it. I don't know when I'm gonna get around to that one because I plan on going back and playing. Starting with Dark Souls 1 actually, and actually no. Demon Souls remake on PS5 because I believe that's still in chronological order. The original one came out first, so I was gonna play that one and then just work my way all the way up all the other ones, all the official ones. I wanted to play I believe it was Mortal Shell. And I know they did like some sort of 60 frames per second enhanced version, but I was probably going to just end up playing the PlayStation Plus edition, which was the older one at 30 frames. Even though I don't really want to spend the money on that one. I just want to get that one out the way, and then go to some of the solo ones and like really show like, are you really a Souls player? Because it's funny, Elden Ring was a game where a lot of people, the hardcore was like downplaying it, like this is the easy one. And it's like, well, I bought all the hard ones, so I got to start playing the hard ones. So yeah, I think I told everybody play all the old ones too, so I'm gonna do that too. Sekiro, shout out to Sekiro. Yeah, very excited about that. We can move on from Remnant. Remnant is still a big deal for me. It's funny because the story was very vague once we got to that kid. Spoilers, I guess. Because I was just like, I don't know who he is, but he transformed into like Mallow Myotismon in the air or something. And I was just like, all right, this dude is strong. And he was busting out all his henchmen. But once we got past that, it was pretty much over. We still had like the DLC, but it was pretty much over. And I think there was still more bosses technically if you replay, but we're not
Because a lot
guaranteed to
of
get the same ones though.
yeah, a lot of the areas it was the area would spawn 4 bosses, and for 3 of them it was one or the other. Like is the way that would work. So replaying, you have a chance of getting the second boss that would have been there instead. The main mission of the game, honestly, was to find the old guy. That was everything we were doing. It was just a lot of crazy stuff happening in between, but we were just looking for somebody. It was like one guy we were looking for, and we found him at one point.
Yeah. It's funny. I don't really want to encore the full game like that just to play the same bosses. I would like for it to be like guaranteed to be the different ones, but I don't think it's possible to just guarantee it.
Remember too, we just wanted to that one point when we wanted to just refight the first boss with our newer weapons to see, because it gave us such a hard time the first time. So we're like, let's see it. And when we went back to it, it was a different boss, and we had to like reset and retry again. So
yeah, but at least they let us keep our characters, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's another thing I'm interested to see. Is this going to do the sequel thing where, like, if you have save data, from the original one.
That'll be interesting.
You get to keep your character and things like that, and your weapons. I hope
It'll
so
be in-
because one of the weapons I got was it was a very like per chance to get it. That main weapon that I used, the one that the alien rifle.
that beaming, the one that's
Yeah,
beaming.
it was like that was one of the areas where it could pop up, where it was like the one of two chance. When I was looking up that weapon, it's considered one of the strongest in the game. But
I remember I upgraded my weapon, but I did not switch it. I kept it the
yeah,
same
you
shotgun.
kept the shotgun.
It worked. It was just too good for me. That
Yeah,
and the pistol.
that beat was what I wanted, and it was like in this area, it was one of the whole. If this boss appears, then you're able to get the gun. If this boss appears, then you're not going to be able to get the gun. Like it's not there, and you'd have to reset the area. So we lucked out that I was able to get it.
Yeah.
Also, even fighting the same bosses, if you were like weapon hunting, how you take out the boss determines the piece of material you get, which determines what weapon you get in the end. So like there was remember the bosses? There was when we were on the bridge, and there was like a boss on each side.
Uh-huh.
If you took down both at the same time, you get a different weapon from if you take them down one at a time.
Oh.
So if we were able to time it to keep them both low enough, then we were able to shoot at both at the same time and take them
almost
both out.
impossible. Yeah.
Yeah, we would have to get one low and then stop fighting it, and then focus on the other one low, and then as one's approaching and one's leaving, hit them both so they both get taken out. Then we would get this other special weapon. So how you defeated the boss is determined. There was also, not to spoil too much, but remember it was the dude with the wolf.
The dude.
They were running around the field. The guy who rode the wolf.
That giant wolf? Yeah, I remember that giant wolf.
So if you take out the wolf first, you get one weapon. If you take out the guy first, you get a different weapon.
Oh, interesting.
So like and he was also, I think, one of the ones where like he may not be the enemy that appears there. It could be a whole different one. So there is some stuff that you can do.
I imagine if Remnant 2 is going to be like that. If Remnant 2, if somebody somehow, some way hears this, only thing I would say is like make New Game Plus where it's guaranteed that the bosses are different. That's it.
That'd be cool.
Just make it to where it's guaranteed if you do it the same way. Because I would have been very if we had been able to like look that up, I would have been like ready to just go right back through it, like and kept it going, because we kept it going long enough anyway. But I guess we can move on. If we go back to what the show was originally, I think the first thing I wrote down was Marvel Snaps wins the mobile game of the year, and they showed that in the pre-show. They didn't show that in the regular show.
So we have best mobile was Marvel Snap. Good for them. The dude seemed very excited to win. So that was good for them. I think he was kind of bringing up how they had a similar game before that, but no one really played it. So he's happy that Marvel caught on. And then so a game that I've been wanting to check out, Dead Cells.
Okay.
Then I've been meaning to check it out. It's on my list to check out. They're doing a Dead Cells Return to Castlevania. So those two are getting a mashup together. And it looks good. So I'm excited even more so to try it out.
The next thing I had on here was that it was getting rid of the rumors, but Returnal going to PC in 2023. It was before it was like a rumor or a leak or something where they showed like some data that showed that it was going to be there, but it wasn't official. And everybody was going back and forth on like, oh, this game is, or the timing of it now, because it's like, okay, the times are getting shorter on when they're starting to be released on PC, as opposed to just being on PS5 first, which is actually very interesting when we get all the way down to Last of Us Part 1. But Returnal going to PC, I had already bought it on PS5 for a very cheap price, so I'm not going to buy it again. But I want to see the people who said they were going to like mod it as Samus from Metroid. That's what I want to see. I would watch a full playthrough of that if somebody did it, or as Samus. So yeah, there's that. And then afterwards, I guess There was the ad that ran for Samsung TV that I thought was interesting because I made a vid on this a while back where you all you would need is a Samsung TV, smart TV from 2021 or 2022, and that TV would be compatible with the Xbox app, and you
Yeah.
would basically be able to have access to Game Pass and probably free to play games. I'm not sure, but I know Game Pass through cloud and your TV. So I
I
mean,
really
I
like
can
that.
imagine you would need a controller as well, but
Yeah, you need a
yeah,
Bluetooth wireless controller that can
but
also hook to the TV.
yeah. But they mentioned that no console is needed. So I thought that was very interesting. You can just simply have the TV. So there are people out there
So
who do have a Samsung TV, a newer TV like that, and they could literally
here's
jump
what
into Game Pass right now.
I really like about that is one is people who like have just a TV, right? You can do that.
Yeah.
Get Game Pass and go. Two, I think it's a good thing for parents. Like if you have like your game system and you don't want the kids like pretty much on it all day or breaking it or
Yeah.
things like that. You want to keep it in your room so you can play it, it's yours, but you have Game Pass as well. You hook that to the main TV and everything. And when the kids want to play games, they can just do it off of the main TV. You ain't got to worry about the console having to be there and all that other stuff. Like I think it's that's a good setup there, and potentially for certain like centers, like
Yeah.
like different like places where like kids can hang out and gather. That might be an easier setup to do if they're able to just get newer TVs, and then somebody has Game Pass, and then it's like for the different like centers or like camps or things like that. Like it'll be an easier setup for them to do, to
That
have like a game night, and like
that
they log on to the Xbox and let people play.
that reminds me of I might age myself a little bit, but I'll give a shout out to a place called Boys and Girls Club, if I remember correctly. So
Yeah,
yeah, I used to go to this
I think
place
they
called
still
Boys.
exist.
Yeah, when I was a
They're
kid,
still
and so it would cost nothing when you think about like how many kids they get to buy in basically because of their parents buying to go to Boys and Girls Club, or the place you and me used to work. You know, right? Like if they had it for the summertime, it's like what $45 is $15 a month. So yeah, that's my only question is just how many TVs can be going on it at a time on one account. Like that would be, you know, like
that'll be
how.
something to check.
Yeah, I'm be interested in seeing a tech channel really answer that question because it's like everybody's bedroom in a house. If you got a 4-bedroom house or something, a bunch of kids, everybody's got a TV. Well, if it's one account, can more than one person be on that account at the same time? I know the game share kind of thing is like that, but it's like
Game
within the
share, but I
house.
was wondering if it's like they have like the parental account and then the like several
Yeah,
accounts under it that you could set up where they can't really like buy anything, but like you could buy the game, like have them access it pretty much under your account. That would be something to see.
Microsoft would have thought about it. This might be the only spot for Microsoft, so I guess I'll get all the other stuff out the way real quick. The biggest thing that stood out to me from the Games Awards that was not a game thing was Phil Spencer's face. I saw the heel turn in his face that night, and it kept panning back to him, and he kept having his face. Shout out to Sarah Bond. Sarah Bond's such a beautiful black woman. She was so happy and cheerful and smiling and celebrating everything she saw. Phil Spencer, absolutely not. It was the opposite. And as much as he was trying to act like he was liking it and stuff, like I don't know what was going on, but I know it was just like random parts throughout the show. They were showing his face, and he just had like a slight disgust in his face. And I know earlier in the day, I think they mentioned the announcement of like everybody was making posts about the Activision deal being blocked. Is technically still not officially blocked. It's just they're saying they're preparing to sue, but there was also some other stuff that came out saying that they don't have the grounds to sue on whatever they're talking about. And some of that information is fuzzy to me because I really don't want to follow it anymore. Because to me, here's how I look at it. It's like, okay, if Call of Duty is going to be multi-plat, if you're on Xbox, you're going to buy it on Xbox regardless. Like you're probably going to buy it on there regardless. And if not, then you're probably going to get it in Game Pass regardless. If you were PlayStation, the difference would have been, well, it wouldn't have been no difference because the big thing that we was talking about was this 10-year deal, but I guess PlayStation rejected the 10-year deal. But I know they also announced there was like a 10-year deal or something with Nintendo, which was crazy because it's like, I'm almost certain the Switch and whatever they come out afterwards is not going to handle Call of Duty correctly.
No,
No,
of course not.
no disrespect, some
They're
disrespect
gonna
towards
have
the Switch. But
matches up to 3 players. Like
yeah, I don't.
it can't handle 3 and it stutters.
Yeah, like a Switch server really going to handle Call of Duty? I don't know. They'll figure it out, I'm sure. But yeah, they were announcing there was going to be a 10-year deal. So the 10-year deal with Nintendo, I mean, technically you could say is pending because the actual Activision deal is pending, but I don't know. Maybe that deal might still hold up if it gets blocked, and maybe it's an Activision deal with Nintendo. I don't even know. I just know for me, I would never play Call of Duty on Switch. I won't play. Who plays Apex Legends on the Switch? Like y'all really playing that on the Switch and Fortnite, please? Like no. So only if you ain't got nothing else. But if you got something else, the Switch is like the last places you're gonna play any multiplayer, unless you really want to play a handheld, and then there's a Steam Deck as well. So, yeah, Phil Spencer's face was like a big thing to me that night. But the other thing that came out, which is semi old, I guess, as of this recording, because you know how fast this news goes. Microsoft was supposed to also start charging $70 for their games. Here's how I look at it. I'm not too upset with that because I already know for myself, I don't buy games at $70 anyway. I'll make an exception for an extremely small few. The latest one that I did was God of War Ragnarok. But it's like, let's look at this game for a second, because the game almost swept the whole award show for the most part. It was already one of the games that was going to be like, it was Game of the Year contender. It almost was Game of the Year, right? So it's like, that's the type of game you would buy a $70 game for anyway. If I did that on Xbox side, it would probably be Starfield. But again, almost everybody, nobody's going to be affected by this because everybody would probably go under Game Pass anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, Game Pass for $15 a month, right? So 4 months, you're just under 70, I guess. If you a gamer, you can power through a lot of Xbox's games. And the joke right now is they ain't got no games, so it shouldn't take you too long to get through them in 4 months. So I don't know.
Right.
You wouldn't have to worry. That's $60 too. That's $60 for a nice little quarter of a time. So yeah, like I'm not too worried about that. It makes sense. It would suck more actually if it was Nintendo that did it, because everybody else's games, they go down in price anyway. Like
some of them go down before it's even out. Like I just saw that Crime Boss Rockaway City or whatever, Rockaway City is already on sale to pre-order. Like, so there's that, and then Nintendo they'd be like, hey guys, I know our games cost $60, we're putting it on sale for $58. Like that's how their sales do.
Yeah.
It's like you can save $1. Like, oh, thank you, Nintendo.
But majority of PlayStation's exclusives in the past 2 years, I've got on a sale, like on a very good sale. We was just talking about Returnal. I bought Returnal for $30, so that's supposed to be a $70 game. It's probably $70 now because the deals are over. But I bought it for $30, and I would imagine I would still do the same thing for Xbox games, unless I just really wanted to go on the Game Pass. So
right,
yeah,
but for me, it has to be like you said, the special games like God of War. I bought at $70. Gotham Knights for me personally is a game that was worth it for me. Like I enjoy it. I can understand it not being for everybody. Like at $70, me personally, it was fine. But there's a lot of other games, No. Like not buying those bad boys at full price. They all can wait.
I can.
Like till it's
I'll
over.
throw the main one out there. It would be Starfield. Starfield on PC. Why? Because you can mod Star Wars. You can mod Power Rangers. You can mod all of it. Right. So that would be the reason why. Is to do that. Put it on a really powerful PC with a really powerful GPU, and then just do all the mods. And so all these
Yeah.
planets that they say you can go to in these big solar systems is like one solar system will have the Power Ranger stuff. One solar system, that's what I would do, and it would have like all the Star Wars, the Star Trek, whoever was in space, whoever did anything in space in any type of anything that I had interest in. If there's a mod for it, then I'll be on there. And so yeah, so Starfield would be the game. I think that's one of the games, and I wouldn't even call that a like that's not even a bad choice anyway, simply because Skyrim is a game that just lasts forever. It's like people just won't stop. So if that's what they're trying to do is do Skyrim in space, that's what I kept hearing. A shooter, first person shooter in space, I guess. It's gonna last a little long. At least a couple years. So yeah. We can move on. The next thing I think they showed was best fighting game. They gave it to Multiverses. They gave that to Multiverses.
Yeah, of course.
I forgot what it's. I don't like when I wrote all this stuff down. I did not write down who was against it. So I wrote down
What
the winners.
Multiverses? It was like
Yeah.
your King of Fighters and real fighting games. And then, yeah, that's one. And of
Yeah.
course, Multiverses is gonna win. Like it's the
Followed
hot
it up
stuff right now.
with an artsy looking Hellboy game, I guess. Hellboy
Oh,
Web of the Word. Is it Word?
weird. I think it's supposed to be weird.
Okay.
I don't mind that art style because it looks like the Telltale
Yeah.
games. So at first I thought it was a Telltale Hellboy, but then he was like really fighting. But it's like the comic book shading. So I don't necessarily mind it, but I'm interested in it. Like I wasn't expecting it at all. So
Yeah, we don't have too much details on there, but yeah, that was shown next. I did write this that esports got no love. That's what I wrote, but it was kind of
yeah,
funny.
they just announced them all back to back. They didn't say names. They were just like the
didn't say
nominees are,
names. Yeah,
and the
she
winner
didn't
is.
do none of it. Yeah, that girl with that dress, she didn't do none of it. It was kind
Great
of
for
funny.
the rest of her performing, like the rest of her announcing and like stage presence and like her corny jokes and knowing they were corny and everything like that. Like it was fine. It was just for the esports part. She could tell.
She didn't do
Like everyone could
none
tell.
of it.
Did not care.
Yeah, it was weird, and the audience didn't really care either. It's funny. 'Cause I always wonder, like, who's watching this, like, really, really watching this like that? Because a lot of people, you watch your favorite streamer and you watch your favorite YouTubers and the trash talking stuff, but I don't know who's watching the quote unquote professionals like that. But maybe some of them are, I guess. But it wasn't enough for this show. They followed it up with a showing of the PSVR 2 game Call of the Mountain. I think that's Horizon Call of the Mountain. It looked fine. It's just I tuned it out a little bit because I was just like, what, your headset costs too much right now. I ain't got the money, so I just tuned it
All the
out.
VR stuff is either your headset costs too much or it's meta. So I'm good. Like I tuned out all of the VR.
Yeah, I tuned that out. The next couple of games, there was a game called Post Trauma, and then that was followed by Viewfinder. I didn't really they looked fine, but I didn't really care too much. But yeah,
Me neither. I would also say we did skip two games: Vampire Survivors, which is a mobile game but it's free, and Valiant Hearts Coming Home is another mobile game.
Yeah, that's probably why I skipped it. That's probably why I skipped it. Yeah, because I was
That's fine.
Even though I got a nice little mobile setup with the Razer Kishi and stuff, it's just I'm not interested in straight up mobile games. It's more old DS and Game Boy ROMs, but I don't.
There were a couple mobile games, and let's be honest. I mean, one of the best mobile games technically is Genshin Impact. So
I played Power Rangers Legacy Wars at one point. I did.
So did I.
I
played it a little bit. I also played the Injustice one that is based on. I've played that, and then cat like what was that? The it was a castle one where you had to like you build a kingdom and the people can invade and like tear down stuff and then you rebuild and but it was one of the more popular ones for a while that I played. It was the kind of older school where the games weren't intrusive with ads and understood their place before they just became money grabs. It was
Yeah.
the old school ones like Temple Run, like those ones. Those got me through classes.
Yeah. I have here that Scars Above was the next game. It was a space game. I do remember this because this was a game that was shown, I think, last summer. And I remember having this super long list of space games that I was going to like make a video on. I'm not sure if I'm still going to do it, but I remember it was like 15 games altogether, and this was one of them. And I was like, here are a whole bunch of space games you can play that's not Starfield. And just literally never did the video because it was so much. But I was like, yeah, they showed this again. I remember this one, the other one that was called Deliver Us from Mars. I don't think that was shown, but those are two of them that I really paid attention to. And then that's followed by a game called After Us. I think this might have been
No,
like
you
the
skipped a
one
few more.
I did.
Yeah, you skipped through two. So Relic Hunters Legends. It was
Okay.
kind of like a very cartoony looking one where it's just it looks like you got a squad and you just run around and treasure hunt while like fighting. It looks like something that'll be fun with friends.
Okay.
I might try it out. And then the one that I kind of liked, Among Us Hide and Seek. So Among Us is doing like Dead
Oh
by Daylight
yeah.
where they're switching. So instead of the killer being able to hide amongst the rest and then you go through your things and then the killer tries to take them out, right away you know who the killer is. Like quickly, and then everyone else like they're in the shadows so the killer can't see them right away as they're running around. But then they like can do their task and everything like that while trying to stay invisible from the killer. So it's almost like Dead by Daylight, but there's a lot more variety of tasks to do, which I think would be fun. Only because when I've played Among Us, there's certain tasks that are like super easy for me to get through that even some of my friends had trouble with, where it just wouldn't register what they're trying to do. But then there's other ones that are difficult to do. So it's like, well, where do I go? Do I handle the easy ones if the killer is there? Am I stuck trying to do the ones I struggle with? Am I gonna get stuck there and all this other stuff? Like it seems fun. Like I think it looks good. It looks enjoyable to me.
Yeah, I think I probably skipped it because it was like DLC ish. So I was like, I don't know
Yeah,
if
I
I
didn't
need
know
to
if it
write
was
it down.
DLC or a sequel.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see also that game getting so much support, like Among Us, and then they just added more stuff, and then VR, and now they're doing this, and that's cool. Good for them. All
Yeah.
right, then we had After
Yeah.
Us.
After Us looked real good. And then there was a game called Replaced that I was hyped to
Uh-huh.
see. After Us and Replaced is going to be in a solo vid, but I know Replaced, I remember when they initially showed this at, I think it was the Xbox show for 2021 during the summer. It was kind of cool. It was like a 2D ish like John Wick looking thing, and I remember they was doing like a corkscrew kick or something. It was pretty cool looking, and haven't seen it since then. It was like a whole year went by, and then now it was showing here, and I was excited to see it because that's a game that I do want to play, and I'm gonna purchase when it comes out. The next thing, they did another award, the Nintendo Awards, so best family game, and they decided to go with Kirby and the Forgotten Lands. It's so funny that to me is it's on the surface a family game until you get to the end game stuff, and then it goes from family to souls. So it's so funny whenever I see that and people say that. But yeah, Kirby and the Forgotten Lands. I do recommend that you go buy it. I think Walmart's should have it marked down as 50 everywhere. I don't think it was on sale for Black Friday. You didn't miss out on a deal for it, but you should be able to get it for 50 in Walmart. So I do recommend that you get that, play through it, and then put the pedal to the metal at the end. Street Fighter 6 got a release date June 6, 2023. I thought the trailer looked a little weird. That's what I wrote down.
The
But
dude, the custom character's head didn't match the rest of the body. Like it was a small head and then this just bulky body. Like it looked awkward.
yeah, but Street Fighter and Tekken showed up in this show. So for any fighting fans, you get a lot of fighting games coming with big profile. And then this was followed by the big Will Smith-ish speech coming from the best performance. Who won this was Christopher Judd, God of War, Ragnarok. And
let me talk about this real quick.
He took his time. He took his time.
So first of all, for some reason, Al Pacino gave the award, which caught me completely off guard. I guess because he's also like a great performer, like one of the greatest. But like, I just didn't expect it. I love that he even said, "I was like, I can't read the teleprompter," and then he even admitted that he doesn't really play games when he watches his kids play games and everything. But like, it was really awkward with him just being there, and you could tell like it was like, "Why are you here?" But like, it's fine because it's Al Pacino, whatever. But he gives the award, and then Christopher Judge. So like, I didn't fully watch the speech. I was watching football as well. And I was trying to get some more announcements before the game started picking back up again because it was on a timeout break. So I hear the first minute and I'm like, yo, he's still talking. So I just start doing the whole like 10-second fast forward on YouTube from my iPad. Going. And he just won't stop. So then I rewind back to the speech. I was like, how long is he talking here? And it was like for 8 minutes. And I'm sure Al Pacino standing there like, can I go? Because he has to just stand there and let him give his speech. And like, Judge just kept pausing. There was parts where he'll finish and then just be like, and and just start talking again. And it was like, I want to go back and hear what he talked about because I'm sure it was heartfelt. But it was like, come on, man, this is the first award of the night. And like, that was like of the main show. Because now the pre-show is over. This is the first award of the main show, and you took 8 minutes. It is solid gold suit.
Yeah, his outfit, he was styling and profiling. He dyed his hair to match it. But yeah, it was crazy because I remember the detail of him saying that he was going to quit God of War Ragnarok because of the director, and then he decided to do it and was happy that he decided to do it, and it was kind of crazy to me. I was like, man, why would you quit that? That seems like a big payday for you, unless you're getting Bayonetta money. I don't know, but yeah, he I remember he was like the main person who was throwing the F-bomb in his speech as well. Like, I don't think anybody else started cussing in the show until he did, and I was just like, yo, okay. I didn't expect it. I thought he would be like not as like maybe a little bit more professional with it, I guess. But
usually the cussing comes from the dude who announced Game of the Year.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but he won last year with It Takes Two. Yeah. He's known for just going off about stuff, and that's why there was a whole joke when he was going to be announcing Game of the Year, and they're like, I hope he doesn't like talk for too long, and he was even saying, don't worry, I won't take up too much time. But like the whole joke is that he just rants and he'll just start cussing. Like he was the whole F Hollywood like speech. He just went off. So like he's usually the dude that just busts out language. I wasn't expecting it from Judge.
Yeah, I said it was a Will Smith type of like speech because I remember the big Will speech, like when Will Smith had his speech at the Oscars. I think he was like really slow with his emotional because of the night, and then saying things like, I'm a fierce defender of my family and stuff, and I hope I'll be back. And then we find out he's not going to be back for like 10 years or something. And then his career was going down. But Christopher Judd is not going to be in the same category. It's just he had an emotional speech that was like similar, just for an emotional level, where he just took his time and they gave him that much time, and it was crazy. But yeah, good for him for God of War. I think this was the first God of War actual award winning for God of War, but it was like the first of many because they practically swept the show. it was like so many
Yeah,
things with
it's some
God of
things I
War.
didn't expect.
It
There
was
was some
just
things I didn't
like,
expect, like innovation and some of this other stuff, and I
yeah,
was like, oh, okay.
God of War was sweeping the show. Elden Ring wasn't too far behind it either. They gave like 4 awards to Elden Ring, if I remember correctly. I think 4 awards to Elden Ring, 6 awards to God of War, if I remember correctly. So yeah, and then they followed it by a really big announcement. Hades 2. I remember I was looking at it like that looks like Hades. And then it was like it was Hades 2, so that's a big deal for anybody. Did you play Hades 1?
I'm playing Hades 1, so I
You're
started it.
still playing it? Okay.
Yeah, so I started it. I went through a little bit of my first run before dying. It's a very interesting game. It's a nice like roguelike. If you're into Greek mythology, that part's fun because I'm really into Greek mythology, which is what originally drew me to the game. Uh, and it's nice seeing this interpretation of the gods and everything. And then it's a normal dungeon crawler like combat, so it's not too difficult to pick up and everything. But then, yeah, it's pretty fun. So Hades 2, I'm interested to see for that one. That one looks good too.
Yeah, then I think they followed it up with Judas, a game called
Uh huh.
Judas, um, which looked okay.
Bioshock people, right? It was the Bioshock people that
Yeah,
made
yeah, I
this.
think that's because the people in the crowd was popping for all the names that they
Yeah.
were mentioning. I think Bioshock was one of them. Um, the next game was interesting. It's not really something that I'm looking too forward to, but I think I'm going to play this before the Bayonetta series because I believe this was a Bayonetta origin story. Um, I don't know if I'm saying the name right, but Saraza?
So
Is that
Cereza, maybe
Sar-
Cereza, Saraza.
Saraza and the Lost Demon?
Yeah.
I own the first 2 Bayonetta games and I haven't played them. I have the Switch versions where I think if you bought, there was a version of Bayonetta 2 that came with Bayonetta 1 as DLC. And so I bought that and hadn't played them 2 yet. I didn't play them back in the day when they were both, or the first one was multiplat. And I haven't bought Bayonetta 3 yet, but I would like to play this first and then run through the Bayonetta series. So yeah, I'll look forward to it a little bit, but yeah, going from that, Ghostbusters makes a return here as a VR
Yeah.
game called Rise of the Ghost Lord. Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord. I thought it looked cool for what it was, but again, when I saw it was VR, I'm like, well, the headset by itself, I can't get past the headset, so I can't get to anything else. So I'm not looking forward to playing it now. Maybe
Yeah.
when it's a little bit more retro, but yeah,
I think this one was Meta too. It wasn't even the PlayStation one. It was the
yeah,
whole Meta one connected to Facebook and all that other stuff.
yeah. So maybe it might be fully multi-plat, or so you can have a PC headset. But
Yeah.
yeah, so then we get the best debut indie game, and this went to Stray. Immediately
Oh,
when
but
that happened, I was like, okay, Stray's not winning game of the year. That's it. I immediately just wrote it right out.
unfortunately, I knew that as well, but I was like holding out.
I wrote it completely out. I was like, okay,
It
best
deserves it though. Best
it
indie game, I
deserved.
definitely like the best indie game. It deserved it. If it wasn't that, it would have been Cult of the Lamb, like one of those two.
Yeah,
But
it
I feel
had
like a lot more people went crazy for Stray.
it was some stack indie games there too because I think Sifu was in there. I think that was in there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then I guess Destiny 2 gets another DLC, Lightfall. For
Okay.
everybody coming off of Witch Queen, you get to play
Yeah.
Lightfall now. And so that was followed by a bigger game that's probably bigger for you, but it was big for me too. Suicide Squad got another showing for the first
Yep.
time in a while.
Kevin
Um,
Conroy's last voice as Batman.
yeah, like that kind of deflected a little bit for me because to me, the first thing I'm thinking is where's the release date at this point, but then they
Yeah.
showed that, and so they kind of deflect. So I was like, okay, you get a pass, I guess.
But I think it does have a release date though.
It
Hold on.
does.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you one second. Oh, oh, never mind. It just says 2023. I thought it had a
Yeah.
release like May. I thought it said May. Yeah, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, May 26, 2023.
Okay. Okay, so that's right there next to Tears of the Kingdom. That'll be interesting to see.
I am
Um
interested in this game.
mhm.
I think the banter is going to be pretty funny between the four characters, back and forth. But I still want to see more. Like I know that it's like a shooter, and not really like a. Right, it's a four-player co-op like just shooter thing, and I just want to see more.
Okay. I think that was followed by a funny game that I saw. I think they originally showed this at the Xbox show as well. Party Animals, which is like a super cutesy Fortnite looking Smash clone in a way.
Yeah,
It was funny looking, and then it got dark for a second because one person got thrown into a furnace or something. I was like, okay, a little dark, a little dark. Followed by one of the darkest games ever. Last of Us Part 1 is announced to go on PC. And so this was interesting because this was the one where I think it was supposed to be going to PC in March. And so it's like maybe you could say there's some exceptions here and there for this one, but I know that people were asking about like like is that exclusivity thing going to be shortened? And this will be the first case where it's 6 months later that it's on PC, I think, because Last of Us Part 1, the Part 1 version was released early September, right? And so, well, maybe that's 7 months. I don't know, 6 or 7 months, but it's anything is less than a year. And so
yeah.
now it's starting to look like they're very, very close to just doing day and date, I guess. But yeah, Last of Us Part 1 is going to be on PC. I would imagine we might see. I would like to see at least a mod of Days Gone in a way. Like they put the Days Gone guy as Joel, Deacon St.
That'd
John.
be interesting. He
Um,
yeah, really quick, Days Gone, you reminded me. He threw another fit earlier this week. The
who?
creator
Oh,
for
the
Days
creator
Gone.
of Days Gone.
Yeah, he
Yep.
threw another fit earlier where he said the game didn't do well because of the times today, and like you can't make a strong like gruff male protagonist or something like that. Like it was a completely wrong statement, but basically he was just like people couldn't get down with the fact that he was just like a strong like let's go like down to earth guy, and that doesn't fly in today. Where I was just like, dude, God of War just did great. Like you need to calm down. Like you're just mad because your game was broken upon release. Like calm down and move on. But yeah.
Yeah. So Last of Us Part 1, ladies and gentlemen. I am still waiting. So, and it's not really top five most anticipated, but I'm anticipating a Last of Us Part 3 to see how they quote unquote fix it. So, moving on, the next thing, best adaptation. So, I believe this went to Arcade League of Legends, and it had a nice pop too.
Arcane? Yeah. So let me talk
Arcane
about
League of
that one though.
Legends, yeah.
So the options were going to be Arcane or Cyberpunk. Like to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
Cyberpunk kind of helped revitalize some of the interest in Cyberpunk, but
They had some movies in there too, right? Didn't they have movies in there?
uh oh, they had Sonic 2. Sonic 2 was,
Uncharted.
don't get me wrong, Sonic 2 was Uncharted. Sonic 2 was really good.
Okay.
uh, but I wouldn't call it like the best adaptation. It was a really good movie. Um, no, but League of Legends was like, so here's the thing, like the show, it was made where League of Legends players loved it, and people who have never played League of Legends ever before were able to
Mm-hmm.
latch onto it and love it. Like it was a very just solid show, just really good. And it was crazy because this came out right when like Netflix and HBO and a bunch of other companies started talking about how they were gonna like pretty much start axing their like animation studio stuff. And they're like, dude, did you not see what you just put out? Like one of the best shows ever.
Yeah.
So and Cyberpunk to me was a very close second. That was also really good. So it really could have been a toss up between the two, but I do think League of Legends it did deserve it. Like I feel like people got a little more excited for what Cyberpunk could have been because of how good the League of Legends one was.
Yeah. So I guess that was followed by a big presentation I thought was done very well with Star Wars Jedi Survival, and then they had the actor come out with the lightsaber. And so this has a release date that's very, very close. March 17, 2023. So 23 is a pretty stacked year, it seems to be. So
that's a game that I would pay full price for because of how much I love the first one too.
Okay.
Like that's a probably a day one buy for me. Well, day two I got to hear it first, but day two buy for me. It will be Jedi Survivor.
The first game is like really like it's not full price at all anymore. Like it's always on sale even outside of the holidays, but you could probably find that game somewhere for as low as $10 if you really just wanted to try it out. Because it's going to be a sequel to that, but the first one, Jedi Fallen Order, is, I'm pretty sure you can find it like digitally on PC somewhere for $10, and then in stores for like 20 at the most. I don't even think it's like that expensive anymore. So yeah. But it was a pretty good showing. I really enjoyed the music and how it was done. You know what's funny? I've seen categories. I've seen people put this in the Souls category. I wouldn't really agree with that, but some people say it's a Souls-like game. Did you think it was a Souls-like game?
I said it was a game with Souls dodging. So
okay,
it was a little bit harder. You're not just going to be able to run in there and just start slicing and dicing and like have an easy time. Like,
okay,
you have to parry correctly, dodge correctly,
so then
or you're going to die. Like so you have to like learn like in this game.
Okay.
And it wasn't so. I wouldn't say like I think Remnant was harder than this.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say it was just like a Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, lifting people up and throwing them.
Oh, okay.
Like you don't even really have that for. You can push. You can push them a little to like catch them off guard, but you're still learning like the Force stuff, and you don't really have a teacher. So you just kind of going as you go. But like you. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, isn't this like the yin to the yang as far as like the Force Unleashed? Because if I remember correctly, Force Unleashed 1 and 2 was like you were the apprentice of the Sith side, and so this being the Jedi side. Well, I think in the Force Unleashed you technically turn face at some point, but
but I will say this though, Jedi, the Force Unleashed, and Fallen Order are my top 2 Star Wars games, like ever. Okay. Those are my 2. Like, I understand, like everybody goes crazy for Knights of the Old Republic, and I put that up there in top 5. But these are the 2 that, like, to be honest, stuck with me more. It could have just been timing, right? Like I was younger with Knights of the Old Republic and way more into Star Wars by the time the Force Unleashed came out. But still. Yeah, Force Unleashed will forever be one of my favorites, and then Jedi Fallen Order was up there too. Like, so I'm really hoping this doesn't go the way of like Force Unleashed 2. Like, I'm really hoping that they're able to do this sequel.
Yeah, for anybody who haven't played Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, I believe the Xbox One X has an enhanced version that really cleans up the visuals, so you can play that with like some better graphics. Yeah.
I definitely suggest both of those.
Because I think that game technically it started on a PS2. It started back in that generation. But yeah, they cleaned it up and got it up to 60 frames, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong on the frames, though. But definitely they cleaned up the visuals. You could see a lot of footage online. But
I think Force Unleashed was PS3. Because I have it on PS3.
Okay. It was a PS2 version though. I know it's a
Yeah.
PS2 version, and then there is a Wii version, and then you can
Yes.
also do a PC version. So if you got a nice graphics card, you probably can make it look real good. But yeah. The next thing was a game called Earthblade that I wrote down. I don't remember too much from it, but
Me
yeah,
neither.
Earthblade was another one. A lot of new games that just came out of nowhere. I'm pretty sure people can gather like 4 or 5 of them that they want. I did. I got like 5 of them that I'm going to like make a solo vid on probably next week. And then this one was another one that is probably going to be in a solo vid. I think it was Done Awakening is what it was
Stop calling
called.
it done. It's
It's
Dune.
not. It's
You keep
Dune.
calling it done.
Dune Awakening. I've
Yeah.
talked about this before. I know I have. I'm
So that was because they released the movies, right? So they had the
yeah
oldest movies, then the older movies, and then the new movies. And then they
yeah.
released Dune Spice Wars
Okay.
game, which was like a phone game or something like that. It was like a mobile something. Or maybe like just a battle arena strategy one. But this one I think looks more like what people wanted when they said
Okay.
they were making a Dune game, which was like a survival, you stuck in the Dune world with the desert and all that other stuff. So this one looks good.
Yeah, and so it was one of the ones I have like stars that I wrote down in my notes for the ones that I really was paying attention to. This was one of them. I've definitely heard about it before. Um, I don't know if it was one that I've done a vid on, but I know it was something that I was probably going to if I didn't. And then followed by that, they show Forspoken. Forspoken as a trailer, it looked a little bit better, but I saw the demo and the I don't think it was called a state of play. I think it was called a showcase. They showed something like that on PlayStation the day after. I didn't really like what I saw when I saw it, but the demo is out there. Anybody can download it. I know some people who already played it. I started to download it until I saw it was like 30 gigs, and I was like, okay, I don't got the space right now because
Wow.
I don't have the I don't have one of those SSDs that all you guys are putting on y'all PlayStations. I'm not about to buy that for 200
Yeah.
something dollars. So yeah, I ain't got the space.
Oh no,
So
I bought a
you bought
external
one?
hard drive that was like 80.
Oh, I thought you was about to
And I
say.
just put no, I put my PS4 games on there. Which is what clears up the space for my PS5. It was a 1 terabyte one, formatted for the PS4 or PS5.
Yeah, they flashed another name up here, Banishers Ghosts of the New Eden, with the actress. I was kind of confused for a second. I'm like, is this Forspoken or is this something else? But yeah, the demo is out there and it is like 30 something gigs if you are worried about space, but you can download it and play this
Did
game
you say
now.
Vanishers?
Huh?
Did you say Vanishers? The
Banishers, like B Banishers.
Oh, because there was also another game called Vanishers with something with New Eden. But I was gonna say there was a bunch of stuff in between those, like the Dune Away or the
Yeah. The Forspoken thing, like I remember their initial showing was a little bad. And then they took the footage down and I guess they made it a lot more sparkly. But the footage that I saw from the showcase the day after, it reminded me of like a Souls game if you was only using magic. And I remember the player, whoever was playing, did not show that game off good at all. And it was like edited to where you could tell they kept replaying it because they was probably losing. And the health bar of the boss was like barely going down. But if you go back and look at that footage, you'll see the health bar of the Forspoken girl was like all the way down to the last bit every single time in the footage. But sometimes it was higher and then sometimes it was lower. And it was after every edit. And so you could tell it was multiple gameplays, even though they was making it look like it was one boss fight.
Yikes.
And so it was just like the entire time too, she was trying to create distance to like make herself like have distance so she could just throw her projectiles, but like the boss was giving it to whoever was playing the game and it was like you didn't make it look that good. And then the projectiles are okay, but I don't know, because I mean, it didn't look like she had too much close combat. She does have some close combat, but in that game, it looks like you rely on keeping your distance in between and just throwing your magic projectiles. That's what it looked like. So I'm still gonna give it a chance, but it's not really something I want to play right away. I think this is set to come out right around the corner.
I plan to give it a chance unless it starts getting some Saints Row reviews, in which case, nah.
I think it probably get. I don't think it's gonna get it on the story. It might get it a little bit on the story because I know that other trailer people crapped on because the actress was like a little cringy, I guess. And then like the showcase of it, and I just remember the one line where she was like, "I'm fighting dragons" or something like that. It was like how she said it, and she was just like, it was cringy. I remember it being cringy. So
some cringe versus all cringe are two different things.
Forspoken just has a rough start, I guess, with the hype. It's literally living off of the fact that it's going to be timed exclusive on PlayStation. Like if you really think about it, it's like outside of that, I don't think a lot of people are really happy for the game for itself. It's just more that and then diversity, I guess. But yeah, that was followed by Death Stranding 2, big showcase here. Kojima coming out and telling everybody, you go watch the trailer if you want more details. So he's like, go dissect it basically. And I'm pretty sure that gave YouTube the ammunition, and a lot of people probably already is dissecting it as we speak. But yeah, I will be playing this when I get to it. I haven't played the director's cut of the first one yet. I want to play that first, and then when this comes out, I'll play it too. It looked like there's some time that went in between, and it was still very well produced as far as the trailer. But I do know for this game itself, though, it had a lot of mixed reviews. People didn't understand it, and this was like a super walking simulator for a lot of people.
Yeah.
At launch, and then I guess they was adding stuff as they went, but yeah, it was like you delivering packages, man. You are, Amazon on foot. You Amazon, you got to make sure that you don't fall over, and tip the packages, and then there's like all these random things that's happening, and then you got this baby. So yeah, it was a very weird, very unique game. I can't wait to get to it, but yeah. So,
I don't think I'll get to it. Like it's fine. I heard enough. I heard enough of it. It was fine.
Okay. All right. The next thing I wrote, Immortals. I don't know if I wrote this down right. Immortals of Avium. Yeah.
Yep. I don't remember anything about it. It didn't get like the special like note next to you saying I was excited for this. So.
Yeah. Sorry for whoever was excited about it. It wasn't one that I was excited about. I didn't star it. That was followed by another God of War sweep. So this was best narrative. Went straight to God of War, best narrative. One of the many awards that God of War got, and then we got the Tekken 8 gameplay.
That looked great. They got my man Paul looking rough. Like he looking homeless out here, but
yeah,
I've always been a Tekken fan, so I'm excited for this one.
Yeah. And then Elden Ring got its first award of the night, Best Art Direction.
Yep.
For Elden Ring. And then we could talk about Elden Ring for a second. I think they also announced their Coliseum free DLC update that I was excited to see, because it allows you to basically battle it out. And then I don't know too much about it yet, but I'm hoping you can have your superior builds and you team up with your friends and maybe do team battles and then battle bosses. But it's Coliseum, so that's another free update for it, for Elden Ring. And then I believe there was the game Moss that is best VR game.
Yeah, Moss Book 2.
Yes. And so... yeah, maybe I'll get around to it when I get a headset eventually. We'll see. Not for nothing, I was a little salty too that night because they was talking about they was giving out Steam Decks every minute, and I did everything I was supposed to do, and they said I was registered, and I just didn't get one. And it was like
Oh,
they was showing like a whole bunch of like they would show the names, and like some of them didn't even have real names. It was just like a whole bunch of numbers, like 8 or 9
oh,
numbers or something. It was like a bunch of them that won that, and everybody was in the chat saying these are bots that are winning. I was like, man, it wasn't even real names, but yeah. So that's followed by Best Sims simulator game, and it was Mario Rabbits that won
yeah.
this best simulator. So yeah, and then the best community. Um, so I
Support.
guess this was yeah, best community support Final Fantasy 14. So I
Yep.
guess everybody's keeping it clean in the chats and stuff, keeping it clean on the
Any
and
game that would have that, it would be that one.
yeah. But let's take a quick break. We're gonna go into our unofficial sponsor, which is Epic Games. You can always get Epic Games for free every week. All you need is an account. You don't need your credit card or any money. You just need an account. And then if you don't have a PC and you finally get a PC, you have a full list of games you can choose from that you never paid for. So from now until December 15th, they still have Saints Row 4 that's available. And remember, this is the enhanced, like, not enhanced, but I guess complete edition of it because it comes with all the DLC and it is like fully patched out or something. And I believe like if you owned like the original one on PC, like they replaces it with this one. Well, on Epic Games, you can just get it if you didn't own it at all. So yeah, Saints Row 4 and then Wildcat Gun Machine also available until December 15th. So you have until then. And then they're actually starting their giveaway where they're giving away games every day. So
Oh, that's early.
I remember, so as of this recording, you guys are going to see this tomorrow. I saw that it said like the first mystery game is set to be released in like 4 hours. So I would imagine in like 2 or 3 hours from now, the first one would be announced, but you would have to check Epic Games like literally every day. So by the next time we report, you would have missed a lot if you were waiting. So check them every day to see, because I remember, I think it was like 20 altogether or something. It was supposed to lead into Christmas. And so, yeah, that's what they're doing. So the first one, I don't know what it is yet. We just have to see. You guys, if you're listening to this now, it would have already been released and you need to literally like pull your phone out and add it because the next one is going to be released. So yeah. So yeah, that's that. And then I got a whole nother second sheet of paper here with so much extra stuff. But actually there was one other thing that's like completely off topic that I wrote down here that I found out that I just wanted to mention on the first sheet. Kurt Angle from wrestling. Anybody know who Kurt Angle is? He mentioned recently that when he first went to TNA, he like, I don't know if anybody remember his big feud with Samoa Joe at the time. Like TNA just kept reminding you of it for year after year because it was a big hit for them. But I believe Kurt Angle shared that Brock Lesnar was very aware of this, and he asked Kurt Angle, he called him and asked him, how much money are they paying you? And Kurt Angle told him, and then Kurt Angle basically told us that Brock Lesnar said, if you can give me that kind of contract and that deal, I will go to TNA. Kurt Angle told TNA at the time, TNA said no. And so that's... So that was revealed recently. And so, yeah, I thought that was crazy to hear. So, yeah, TNA never got Brock Lesnar, but Brock Lesnar could have been a part of TNA early on around that time and went against a lot of people. It would have been very interesting. But yeah, so I
You
guess
know what though? Was it no, we're not going to pay him that much, or no, we can't pay him that much?
I don't know. I don't know because in 2007 and 2008, maybe it was maybe a little bit of both, maybe, maybe. Because
Like
TNA
they
at that
already
time
had
they
our,
still had they were on TV. I think they were on Spike, right?
yeah.
They had a real deal. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But shout out to Impact Wrestling. They're still going no matter what. They're still going.
Yeah, they
Um,
got solid weekly programming. Like it's good if you need something that's like a break from the other one. Uh
yeah.
or you just want something slightly different. Yeah. Watch
All
them.
right.
I've kind of gone on a full break.
The next game that was shown was called Nightingate, I believe. I don't remember too much from it, but it.
You mean Nightingale?
Say it again.
Nightingale?
Oh, did I write it wrong? I must have wrote it wrong. I wrote it wrong. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. Because I was going fast and I wasn't 100% focused because I was in like a
Well,
party
it was
chat.
either Nightingale or Baldur's Gate. Because I didn't write Nightingale down, but I did write
Oh.
Baldur's Gate 3. But I remember Nightingale being there.
Well, I apologize for the misinformation because I must have wrote it all completely wrong. But I can tell you the very next thing was the Games for Impact Award.
Okay.
And that went to As Dusk Falls. And I believe this was this debuted in Game Pass if I remember correctly. And it was like considered a very good story. I didn't get to it, but it was a very, very good story apparently. And so it was highly recommended by a lot of people. So yeah, if you have Game Pass or you know, get to it, play it, play it. Followed by another game, Wayfinder. You remember this Wayfinder?
Okay, so it was Baldur's Gate 3, not Nightingale. Baldur's Gate 3, which I'm partly excited for.
Okay.
Baldur's Gate 3 it's basically it's Dungeons and Dragons, but like turn based. Like you play it, it's like a video game version. It's just I don't know. I remember hearing recently something bad about Baldur's Gate, and that's why I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. But it looks good. I want to hear some reviews first. But if the reviews are good, it's a game that I'm going to throw on my list. But yeah, Wayfinder.
And then we got an expansion here for Fire Emblem. So Nintendo's making some more appearances. Yeah, so I know there's a huge Fire Emblem crowd. I'm not too big into Fire Emblem, but I did just buy a Fire Emblem game, Three Hopes, I believe, this past Black Friday for like $30. I wrote down here, this is funny. I wrote down here, this lady is gone. And I think that was in reference to like, there was this lady and another dude that they had on stage. And that one lady was so out of her mind a little bit, blinking all over the place, looking all over the place. I don't know if you remember, she had like a bob cut, blonde hair bob cut. This lady was gone. I was just like, I was looking at it like, yo, is she okay? Did she snort something right before it? Like, that's how it looked.
I think so.
That's how it looked. That was crazy. Followed by another game that I did put a star by this because I'm excited about this. Comes out 6/6/23. This is Diablo 4. Big game, big franchise. My co-host is obsessed with Diablo Immortal. He spent so much money.
Boy, okay. One, I refuse to download it, and it won't get a dime out of me. Two, I played Diablo 3. That was good. So, I may have played a little bit of Diablo 2 back in the day. But Diablo 4 does look good. I'm excited for it, but nah, get that Immortal up out of here.
Okay, best sports / racing. I was very, very, very surprised by this, but Gran Turismo 7 got this. As I was like, I could have sworn this was the game we crucified for like backhanding us some microtransactions into it, and then it was like certain cars was just not in there, like certain years was just not in there. So I don't know, but it won it, and it is what it is. Followed by best multiplayer, and this actually went to Splatoon 3.
Yeah.
Big W for Nintendo. Splatoon 3. I like to take the time to say, at this point, I don't have Splatoon 3, but I did some very, very big homework for my headset purchase. I'm not wearing them right now. I'm going to wear them later. But I bought the Turtle Beach Stealth 700, I think it's called. Gen 2 Max. It's a long name. 700 Max Gen 2, I think is what it's called. It had like a sale, I think, during the Black Friday time. It was a little bit after Black Friday, but that was the one headset where it works on all systems and your phone, right? And the cool thing about it is it also has 2 channels or 2 inputs it can take in. So it allows you to have fully functioning party chat in a way while playing on Nintendo. And that's one area where you don't really have party chat like that. You have like that app that they like encourage you to have, but it's like it's not the sound all in one. Well, now at least with that headset, and then the headsets that have 2 channel outputs, or I think it's 2, I don't know how to say it. It's like it takes 2 audio inputs, so you got to be real specific with that. I know that is just one of them where it does it, and it'll give you all the hits, like all the stuff across the board. But you'll be able to play Splatoon 3 with full party chat with that. So if you got a bunch of buddies and you tell them like, hey, this is the headset, that's the one where you can turn Splatoon 3 into maybe Fortnite or Call of Duty. You can run some strategies, and all the sound will be right in your headset. The sound from the game as well as your party chat from probably Discord. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Throw a gem out there for somebody who needs a headset. The very next thing, this is an interesting segue. So best audio also goes to God of War. God of War got best audio.
I was surprised for that. I had thought it was going to be Call of Duty. I would always assume gun games would have the best audio because part of the whole thing is footsteps and knowing when enemies are coming anywhere and all of that stuff. But nah, God of War.
Yeah, God of War got best audio. They swept so many awards. It felt like the God of War show because Christopher Judd took his time, and then they was just winning award after award after award. And yeah, so that's followed by another one that's a really big one that also goes to Nintendo here. So best and most anticipated game. This is going to be Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I can agree that this is very, very anticipated by gaming fans as a whole, not just Nintendo, but I'm anticipating it too. Based off of Breath of the Wild, I had a very good time with Breath of the Wild. I played it for a long time during the beginnings of the lockdown, and so yeah, after God of War, I'm actually going to play Age of Calamity in like preparation for this, and maybe Skyward Sword. So yeah, most anticipated game, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Are you anticipating this?
Yeah, I still have to get through Breath of the Wild, so okay. I'm probably not going to get it right away, just because there's no need to get it right away. Even though, I mean, I could because it's never going to go down in price. But I just had to get through Breath of the Wild, and I want to get through Link's Awakening again. So, like, the remastered one and everything, like, I want to get through them. And for Breath of the Wild, I gotta start over because I don't know where I left off. I'm just every time I load in, I walk up to some big boss enemy and just lose. Like I don't know what's happening. So it's like I just need to start over and focus on that game. So
yeah. And so this was followed by the most useless game of the night getting some DLC. So Horizon Burning Snores. And
Shores.
I put Snores. I don't know why I put Snores. I don't know why, because everybody slept on this, man. Horizon ain't win jack. It was in like every category, and it ain't win jack.
My brother loved Horizon Breath or the first one.
Yeah.
Horizon it's not Forbidden West. What's the first one called?
Zero Dawn. Zero
Zero Dawn.
Dawn.
So yeah, he really liked that one, and then I do like the idea that I don't know why this is what stuck out to me. The first DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn was
Burning
the
Stars.
it was the no it was like the whole ice thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it was the frozen I don't know something, and now this one is the burning shores. So it's like the first one's DLC was all icy, and now the second one's all fire.
So
Uh,
I said, gotta remember, Call of the Mountain is in this universe, and it's supposed to be like years prior, I think. But I ain't got a headset. But yeah, Nintendo is getting some W's here because the next one, best action game, went to Bayonetta 3. Did not go to Call of Duty. It went to Bayonetta 3. This was the only category that Bayonetta 3 was in, and so they won that. This was followed by another game that I was paying attention to that I am probably going to get, Blue Protocol.
Yeah, that looked interesting.
It looked good.
I like the idea where it said, be the hero of your own sci-fi story or something like that. And then, it looked good.
That was followed by the biggest pop of the night for me when they showed Remnant 2. Very happy by that. We talked a lot about that earlier on. And then another game here that I've advocated for, technically, I've advocated for Transformers Fall of Cybertron, War of Cybertron, like another game that's like that. But this didn't look like that to me. This kind of looked like Titanfall in a way, where it was like a mech suit kind of thing. It was first person. It was showing you from being within it. And I don't really remember at any point you was being within, unless you want to count Bumblebee in the movies where you're just sitting in the driver's seat. It's like, I don't know. But yeah, we got a Transformer game here. What's the official name? Because I just wrote Transformers.
Transformers Reactivate. So what I honestly think
they reactivated old dead suits or something.
I don't think it's a mech suit because I don't think somebody was inside. I think it was Bumblebee waking up. They just didn't want to spoil it, like who it was, so they had it look as a first person. I think the game is probably going to be in third. Because there's no way you want to do transformations in first person, like where you're just the camera just goes lower. Yeah. Like I wouldn't want that. Like I want to. So I'm interested to see where this goes. Yeah. I think the whole first person thing was specifically so we couldn't see what the four people were working on, and then that's when you see the hand, and you're like, "Oh, it's Bumblebee." And then
my whole thought process was Titanfall until they showed the title screen. I was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, that's folled by a game called Behemoth. I thought it was a goofy title, but yeah, Behemoth. VR. Yeah, I ain't got no headset. I'm gonna keep saying it. Costs too much. We gotta crowdfund this thing in the community, and we could just like all pass it around. If y'all wash your ears though, because that's I keep telling y'all. So that's followed by, I put Fall Guys here. Did we mention Fall Guys earlier? But
but they were doing like a Christmas thing coming up. Currently, Fall Guys is doing like a crossover kind of with SpongeBob, so everything's all water themed. Mm-hmm. And you could pay for SpongeBob costumes. They're updating the levels a lot more, and there's a lot more challenges going on. But I don't like the fact that it's the pay model now. Like it's like they have like a little progression thing that just keeps going. But you like if you don't pay, you kind of lose out on half of it. Like it just keeps going without it. Like you would have unlocked this, but you don't pay us, so you're not premium. You don't get this anymore. So that kind of ruins it a little. So now it's like rather than me really playing to try and unlock stuff, it's just like I do a round or two because I'm waiting for some friends to log on, and I don't want to get too deep into another game. So
yeah, I guess the next thing here was actually a clip from the Super Mario movie. So I think the animation
I didn't want to see anymore.
Oh, you skipped it? I thought
because I saw the first two trailers. Okay, I saw the first two trailers, and I was like, okay, that's enough. Anything else is gonna I usually wouldn't have even watched the second trailer. Like one trailer would have been enough
Yeah.
for me to know whether I was gonna go see it or not. And I already planned on seeing it, but like I don't want to see it anymore.
This was
So
one of those
let me know.
situations though where when you saw it, everything was done correctly, literally except for the voice acting. It kind of
Okay.
just it stood out to me that I was like, oh yeah, they still got like these random people. Like Keegan Michael Keegan. Is that his name? Did I say it right?
Keegan Michael Key.
Okay, yeah.
Not
Something like
Keegan.
that.
Keegan Michael Key.
Yeah, he came out right before they showed the clip, did his thing. And yeah, the clip was okay. It still looks really good. I mean, they got the sound effects and everything correctly. When it came to like them going through the tubes and stuff, like you would be very familiar with like the game Galaxy and then Odyssey and some of the older ones. So they did that correctly. The trailer had like 1,000 toads. There was toads everywhere. It was like they were like the toads were the average person in the cities, basically. If like you had Peach's Kingdom and then you had everybody was a toad. So that's kind of what that was. This was followed by Best Music Score as a award. This one also went to God of War. God of War. At this point, I was like, "Yo, God of War swept so much."
I thought music should have been Metal Hellsinger, like a game where music is required.
Yeah,
I feel like should have been the winner for this. So Metal Hellsinger, I thought should have been the one, but that's okay.
This is followed by another game that I put a star by. That I liked. Banishers. I thought this looked good. This looked like something.
Yeah, I have it
play.
as. Is it Banishers or Vanishers? I have it as Vanishers, something, blah, 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 New Eden. I did not get the full name.
I thought it was Banishers with the B, but if I got it wrong, oh well. I'm going to go back and look at it anyway because I had it as a star. So I'll be able to find it out later.
I did also put it like a heart next to it, like, yeah, this is something I like. So.
Yeah, and then Warhammer Space Marine was next. I've looked at this a few times.
Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. So yeah, this was here. You want to tell us more about why you're looking forward to it? I gotta make a quick bathroom break and I'll be right back. All right.
So for Warhammer, like just huge lore for it, and then these ones were always to me really cool because it was the whole action focus. And then this new one just looks to pick up where it left off, just super actiony, and like I love the gun, the way that looks, the whole chainsaw fighting, and just how you just look just extra powerful, and you're just taking down hordes. It feels like a very easy to jump into game, and it's been like a very, very long time since I looked at any sort of Warhammer lore. So I am like very much out of the loop. I don't remember it at all. But I feel like after playing this, that's when we're going to start diving more into stuff again. I got some friends who do like the Warhammer stuff, and I think they paint miniatures and things like that. I might get more into it. It just feels like the game looks really good, and it's a nice jumping off point for like a lot of cool things. So I'm excited for that. That seems to be good. Oh, he just left me on his own. But yeah, the footage, we back to Remnant. I will say I've played a lot more of the Gotham Knights stuff for our listeners here. I should be almost done with the game soon. I've been taking my time with it. But solid game. If you can get it for a little bit cheaper and you're a big superhero fan, go for the Gotham Knights. I can't recommend it more. Like, it's good. But yeah, the Space Marines looks fun. I have much more talk about. I want to get into my rants before he pops back up. But go back to Remnant 2. Like, yeah, if you really didn't give this game a try, I definitely suggest it. Easier to grip on, especially for someone, like I said, I don't really play Souls-like games. Like, I'm not in for just losing over and over. But even with this game,
you gotta be patient, man. You gotta be patient. Yeah. You won't lose.
But Yeah, Remnant was good. I talked about Space Marines. So, short version is the game has like a lot of lore and it looks really fun. And if you really like get into it, there's so much to just jump into after for
Okay.
Warhammer.
Yeah, this look like something I would play once I get like a sale or something for me. The next game, I think it was called Meet Your Maker. It looked a little weird if I remember correctly, but yeah,
It looks like a game where it's it's a roguelike where you just go through, see how far you can get to try and get something, and if you die, you like get recreated and restart
you meet
like
your
over
maker.
and over again. Yep.
Yeah, now this was followed by a game. It might be controversial for me to say it. I just knew beforehand Crash Bandicoot was not, it wasn't rumored, it was like announced that they were going to announce a new game at the Game Awards. In my head, I was thinking it was going to be another regular Crash game.
I thought it would be a Crash Team Racing 2. That's what I thought they were gonna announce.
And they kind of, threw out another free to play looking clone kind of thing, a Fortnite ish kind of thing. And I was just a little disappointed when I saw it, but I understand it. It's for a different audience for today's day and age, and they're just, milking the name, I guess. But I'll probably try it if it is free to play. I'm not really looking forward to this, but yeah, another Crash game. The
One of the games
originals
that was
are brutal.
yeah. One of the games that was announced right before Crash, though, it was kind of in the commercials. It was called Blood Bowl 3, where it's like, it looks like Mutant Football League, where it's like the monsters playing football, but it's all strategy, turn based. So it's like, it looks pretty interesting if you're into like the turn based combat, but like it's football. So I'm thinking about looking more into it.
Yeah, so that's followed by the Innovation Award, which went to God of War Ragnarok.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
They was here. They are here to sweep the show. That's what I was thinking. I was like, yo, they have swept this show. This is the God of War show. But then that was followed by a game that I also am looking forward to. Another Souls like out there. There's so many. Bring them all on. Lords of the Falling. I thought it was Mortal Shell. I thought it was like a Mortal Shell thing. I was waiting for the character to get knocked out the shell. I was waiting for it and it didn't happen. Then it was like, oh, it's Lords of the Fallen. I was like, okay. But it's another one. It looked good to me. I do want to play this as well. I want to play it. How did you remember this one?
It looks good, yeah. The trailer looks really good. I want to look more into it. I don't know. I might have to just start really just giving these Souls-like games a chance instead of writing them off. But it does look really good.
Yeah, Souls is a very hot commodity genre right now. Like, it seems like everybody's coming out with one now. Here's a game that's like complete opposite from Souls, but the Expendables all came together and decided to make a game called Crime Boss. It looked like GTA Vice City. They had so many actors in this.
All right, so there's so many actors, and it looks like there's so many actors, and they're just randomly. But like, first of all, when they announced it and they brought back one of the people who like acted with Al Pacino, it just he was throwing an attitude because the audience just did not care. So it was like zero reaction. He's like, "What a lovely audience," but said it with an attitude.
Yeah.
So then there was like a couple cheers and everything, and it was just like, "Dog, don't nobody want to see you right now. Like it's been a long night." And he's like, just talking at the
They were
game.
like fake Men in Black or whatever they were doing. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was
So
funny.
there's supposed to be a whole game. It's called Crime Boss Rockaway or Rockay City. Crime Boss Rockay City. Yeah. It looks okay. I'm interested to see what it is because the gameplay looked like it kept cutting between like military and crime. Like it looked like there was like military shots and then crime shots, and it was I don't know what was going on. Like the cinematic trailer, I'm like I don't know what this is exactly about. Like is it a Grand Theft Auto clone? Is it just its own little solid
like Vice
story?
City to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably not the reaction that they want. Especially if this was their big reveal for them, the way they did it, because
Danny Trejo is in it.
It's coming out on March 28, 2023. So it's right around the corner, and I don't know if they're gonna get what they want from it. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
Danny Trejo is in it, so there's that. Let me look up some of these actors in there.
it was the Expendable. It reminded me of this movie called Be Cool. That was like a sequel to Get Shorty. It had The Rock in there. It had Christina Milian. It had
Uh,
John Travolta. It had Cedric the Entertainer. It was just like this crazy cast of people that just somehow was meshed into this.
all right, it looks like it's organized crime, first person shooter is the game. Oh, Chuck Norris is in it.
Yeah, Chuck Norris was like the
Just
big.
shit.
It was
Play as
silly.
Baker. Yeah, it was just. Oh,
How old is Chuck Norris?
I don't know, but and Danny Glover was in it as the cop named
Yeah,
the Glove.
they
Danny
got the
Glover was the
Expendables.
Glove. Danny Trejo is in it. Chuck Norris is in it. He does a roundhouse kick for some reason, but it's first person. Be a criminal is the idea. Damien Poitier, Michael Rooker, Kim Basinger, like Vanilla Ice is in it.
Yeah,
uh,
it was crazy. It was just all these people.
Michael
So
Madsen, yeah.
it
So
might be a
there you go.
better, more polished, like Saints Row 4 ish kind of thing, because they kind of did that in Saints Row 4, technically.
It reminds me a little bit of Battlefield Hardline. I think
Yeah.
where it's like you're going undercover and then all this other stuff. Like it reminds me kind of that. So I might give it a shot. I don't know if it's not gonna be like a day one buy for me, but like I might give it a shot.
Yeah, the next thing was best role playing game. This actually went to Elden Ring. This is
Yep.
where Elden Ring was starting to catch up. And so, yeah, they got that award. The next one was actually very interesting to me because I wasn't expecting the player's choice or player's voice. I put player's voice. I think it was probably player's choice. But that was
Voice.
it
It
was
was
voice.
voice.
It was voice. Okay,
Yep.
that actually went to Genshin Impact. It went against like
Oh.
everything else was like all the Game of the Year nominees, wasn't it? It was
Yep.
like it
Yep.
went to Genshin Impact, so that was interesting.
So one, the dude said like after we sift through all the bots, but everybody said it was still
Yeah,
bot, and there was a whole attitude that everything was going to God of War and
yeah,
Elden Ring, and people kept feeling like Xenoblade Chronicles or Pokemon Legends Arceus were cheated. So apparently, like it was Genshin Impact and Xenoblade Chronicles 3 people that felt like their games were being cheated and everything. So apparently, the Genshin Impact people were gonna like heavy skew votes in like a different way. So there was a whole bot thing that they'd look out for. But yeah, Genshin Impact took the player's voice thing for some reason.
yeah. And so that was followed by Best Indie again. I don't know how this was different from the other one, but they gave it to
Yeah,
Stray.
one was like best indie, and then this one was best independent. Really, like I don't know, it was weird. Like it had like one word different, but there wasn't anything else different about it. And then Stray won again, so
It was silly. That was
Stray
kind of
got 2
silly.
awards.
And then Best Action Adventure, and we gave it to God of War Ragnarok again. This was
That was obvious.
probably number 5 or number 6 of the awards for
6.
God of War. But this might have been the last award that they won that night, but it was
Yep.
a big one. That's followed by Best Ongoing Game. That was Final Fantasy 14. I actually have not
I didn't
played
know that
this.
was ongoing.
Yeah.
I thought
Um,
Genshin Impact was the winner of that. Like, so they said Final Fantasy. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, 14, Final Fantasy 14. And then Best Game Direction. That actually went to Elden Ring. So Elden Ring was catching up. Best Game Direction. And then we got to see
My pop moment for the night.
you said the what?
It was my moment where I popped for the night.
Oh,
For,
Cyberpunk?
no. Was Cyberpunk next? It must have been
Cyberpunk
after
was
that.
next, yeah.
Oh, never mind. It was after that.
So
then.
my co-host, he had popped for Cyberpunk 2077's paid
no, no.
DLC with Idris Elba. I don't
That's
know.
not his name. Canceled. Idris Elba.
Yeah, that dude, yes, he's going to be in the Phantom Liberty game. They just announced, and it looked like maybe some more Keanu Reeves stuff was saved for this too, for what I saw. Maybe.
Probably.
So yeah, so that's gonna be there. It's probably gonna cost $70 by itself. So y'all gonna play for it. Maybe not. Maybe I don't know. What do you think they're gonna charge? 20? Think they're gonna charge 20? I don't know.
I think they're going to charge 20 or 30. I see them doing a $29.99 sort of thing.
I want them to just do it. Go full 70 and see what happens.
70, try and get their money back.
Yes. And then yes, Armored Core 6.
This is what I popped for. So Armored Core 6,
Yes.
Fires of Rubicon. So I remember playing Armored Core on the PlayStation 1 as a kid with my
Okay.
godbrother. And like it was a really fun time and things like that. And then like that was it for me. I never got back into Armored Core out of the PlayStation 1. And then I've been wanting more Armored Core and everything. And then boom, here we go. And I know it was like announced / rumored and everything, but this is the first like, here's footage. It does exist that we've seen. And it looks good. It looks great.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little skeptical of this in 2023. I don't know how it would translate. I'm gonna be really I just have to see how it is. I don't know, because I don't expect them to do a Souls game here, but I don't know how.
Build a robot, fight robots. It's just the fights are hard.
Yeah, if they keep it like that, then yeah, I just have to see how it goes. But yeah, they made it seem like a big deal, or Jeff Keighley did. He was like, "Yo, this is a world premiere. You never knew, blah blah blah." Even though this was rumored already. The next thing I kind of scratched my head at, because I guess Rocket League got an update where it's going to get some lo-fi tracks there.
So yeah, lo-fi. So lo-fi is one of the most popular like YouTube channels. I actually like that got me through college. Like it's music in the background. I've been to parties like game nights where we're gonna do a bunch of board games, and that's what we turn on in the background. It's just lo-fi, chill beats to relax to. So Rocket League always has music built in, and it's always usually like techno beats. Well, now they're gonna do like chill modes and like introduce lo-fi like beats, so you can just like this is the chill vibe for gaming and everything with Rocket League.
It doesn't fit for me because I'm like, Rocket League is supposed to be fast. You're driving all upside the wall. You're playing soccer at a high intensity in a way, but like with lo-fi music with it makes it seem slow. It just don't seem like it goes with that to me.
No, probably not.
They should be doing some Sonic type themes, if anything. That's
probably not. But it looked like they said they're also introducing like chill levels. So it looks like there's going to be game modes where you can just relax, cozy game. Like you can play cozy games. It's a cozy Rocket League.
Confused because to me I was just like, don't people already, because this game went full free to play, so I was like, don't people already do like the Spotify thing and stuff? Like if you're on PC, don't you already have your own playlist or something? If you did, I used to do that back in the day. I know the PS3 was big for that, especially Xbox was the one that really started that, where you could play your burnt CDs on there. Back when burnt CDs was a thing, but it was just like with lo-fi music. I was like,
I'll be honest, when I play Rocket League, I put on headphones and I'm listening to music anyways. So
yeah, I was just saying, don't people already do that? I was just kind of confused by it, but
absolutely.
Yeah, followed by another really big announcement. I guess this was the last big announcement of the night. Final Fantasy 16.
Another game though, Wild Hearts. I don't remember what it was about, but that was something that was announced. Wild Hearts.
Yeah, that's probably why I didn't write it down. Sorry.
Yep.
But yeah.
But then Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that has a release date of 6/22/2023. It did look good. It looked a lot better than what I've seen before. I don't know if it's still like slowed down turn based, or are they gonna let you play like action, but from the presentation it looked good. It looked very good to me.
Like action.
It looked like action to you?
Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping that it's action, because if it's action, I'll play it. If it's like Final Fantasy 7, it's like you're gonna have to find a way to give me that bad boy for free. I'm sorry, but followed by the biggest announcement of the night, biggest announcement for my channel, Game of the Year actually went
Clinton.
to Elden Ring.
Bill Clinton. Game of the year was Bill Clinton. According
And
to that's who it was sent to. Say it right.
yeah, what is this kid's name anyway? I don't even know. Did anybody
Uh-uh.
ever identify him? All I know is
No.
that like they gave it to Elden Ring. I liked the presentation before. The presentation clearly showed that the other games was like nowhere near the other two. It was like they showed they did this like orchestra thing, and I liked how it was. At first I was annoyed that they did that because it was stalling, and I was like, I'm trying to get off the show because it's been 3.5 hours.
Didn't they do
But
that last year though too? I think they did it before because that's
probably.
what the dude who was talking about the announcement. He said that was his favorite part is hearing all of the music.
Yeah,
Like, played
I
together.
still liked it, and I actually now think about it because let me mention this because I technically skipped it. They did actual presentation, not presentations. They did a sound thing. What am I trying to say? It was a dude who performed one of the God of War tracks. He did a performance somewhere in this show.
Hosier.
Yeah, and
The
I
Take
think
Me to Church guy.
he was the one who I think he accepted the best music score afterwards. So he got the award after he did his like actual presentation or his actual show. And it was interesting to me because I was like, yo, this is really the God of War show. Because outside of the awards, you had the speech, and then you had my man's doing his performance. And I liked his performance. Yeah, and then it was just like, from there, we had their final performance here, which was way more just musical, and they showed like the graphics of all the games, but you clearly saw that the last two was the one, and it was they showed God of War and Elden Ring at the very last two, and then that's when they finally let the It Takes Two guy go up there. He looked just like his character from A Way Out, and he announced that it was Elden Ring that won. And then they had the people go out there, and I guess one guy was like, I know this is controversial, but I'm going to make better games than Elden Ring, so look forward to that. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. And then somehow, some way in the middle of that, the kid snuck up there, and then he said what he had to say. It was very goofy.
So, like, yeah, they walked up, and this kid was with them. There's actually footage now of people seeing it when they're walking up to the stage, him just walking up with them. And people just assumed this was somebody's, like, child or something. So he's just standing up there peacefully, like, not in the way, just standing in the background as they're, like, talking about the award. And right when the music starts playing, he just grabs the mic and is like, Martin, yeah, one more thing. I want to dedicate this nomination to our Reformed Rabbi, Bill Clinton. Thank you. And people started clapping. Like, people clap. Everybody's like, I don't know what this is.
I remember in my head, I was just thinking like, I'm finally can get off this show because it's been 3 hours. And when he said Bill Clinton, I thought that he was just mentioning some random person that he knew that just so happened to be like have the same name. Because to me, it was just like they were all had an accent. I just felt like they weren't from here, or maybe they just came here to do the work. I don't know, but I didn't think it was Bill Clinton, and then it was just like, what? And then I've seen videos so far, everybody took that and ran with it. I might actually even put it in my title, but it was goofy. I don't even know what's all going to happen to him. I heard he got arrested.
Apparently he got arrested.
He had an interview the day after. He was trolling during the interview too, if I remember correctly hearing. But I didn't see it. I was kind of done with him. I'm like, whatever. He got his 15 minutes of fame. We may not ever see him again.
Like, it was the end of the night. You ruined it.
It was just goofy because I was just like, how was he just there? And how did he just get up there like that and nobody knew or said anything? He blended in so well that you wouldn't have known. Nice. You would not have known at all. People was making fun of his hair, saying he looked like the alien guy meme from a while back. Yeah, it was just goofy. I'm like, who is this guy? But yeah, I don't know. Elden Ring being the game of the year, that probably was very well deserved because it was still like it was champion for like a really long time. It literally didn't really have any opponents. It really didn't. It only had God of War. And then you can argue that, like, even with all the other awards with God of War, it was like you guys had like maybe 3 weeks to like really come to this conclusion. They came to that conclusion, all right, all the way down the list. It was like, okay, within the last 3 weeks, God of War came and it blew out everybody in every other category. But it didn't win the big one, and it's okay. I respect it. Elden Ring was like a very big revolutionary game because it introduced Souls games to all the fakes. Basically, it was so many fake people, I could call them that, and then it was like all these new people who never got to play it either. But yeah, so many games sold.
A lot more people are going to go back and give the other Souls games a chance because of enjoying Elden Ring. A lot of people were talking about Elden Ring.
I don't know if
I've watched video of Elden Ring. I do think it deserves it for sure.
It might have been the same guy who was on stage, but I remember they was talking to like one of the developers or somebody, or yeah, it might have been one of the dudes who was on stage where he was like, I don't even know why so many people liked it or something like that. This is what he said, which is kind of funny, like right before this point. But yeah, that's a big deal for it. At least this year, it felt like a bigger deal. Where the year before, it almost felt like they could have easily handed it to just about anybody. Yeah, bigger game for the fans. Go play both. You should play both. Obviously, two big games.
Like, and even though those are the two for sure clear winners, right? I will say some of the other games, like I want to give Xenoblade a chance with how many people argue for like Xenoblade stuff. I want to look into it. You know, I thought Stray was a good game.
I think Xenoblade didn't get anything either, right? Just like Horizon, it didn't get anything. A Plague's Tale was mentioned in so many categories as well. A Plague's Tale Requiem, and it didn't get any of them.
And you gotta remember, even though they're not winning a lot of this stuff too, out of how many games came out this year, the fact that like when you number it down to 6, it got nominated for so many categories.
Yeah.
That means it's at least top 6, right? You got to think like out of all the games, even though it didn't win Game of the Year, like all of those were the top 6 games of the year out of everything that came out. So, like, you know, give them all a chance.
Yeah, Elden Ring was so huge though, because I remember the energy from Elden Ring sparked into that YouTube drama where everybody was trying to cancel the one guy and all of that noise, and then there was like channels that were getting like scrutinized heavily because they spoke against Elden Ring. It was like if you said
people
something,
still speaking against it too.
Yeah, it was like it was almost career suicide if you spoke against Elden Ring, and then at the same time, it was like I remember people saying for like a good solid month, if you was making gaming content, you could not make anything other than Elden Ring because nobody was watching anything else. So it was like it was a big deal. I can't wait for part 2. Like I know they're gonna do a part 2. I definitely cannot wait to just hammer through so many of these Souls-like games. There's so many of them. There was one at this show, Lords of the Fallen. I bought so many of them already. So many more that's coming out. So yeah, that's the end of the show. I don't have anything else to really say. Do you have anything else to say for this?
Go find some games. You know what? And even though this award show went, let us know what your game of the year was. Like, what's the game that you played that you enjoyed the most this year?
Yeah, and I was going to talk to my co-host about this off air first. I forgot, but I'm going to mention this. I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the show, but I'm definitely going to mention this at the next show. I think the Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, this show comes out one of those days. I think it's better for us to actually just go ahead and just skip it. We're gonna skip 1 week. I think we should just do it that time. Normally we double record. I think what we're gonna do is I should be talking about this off air, right? We're probably gonna double record and put that other recording 2 weeks out during New Year's Eve. And then take Christmas Eve off. I don't know who's gonna be working during that time. I need to see it. I might still also put out some like solo-ish content that day. It might be like another 30-minute session where I just talk about something. I don't know. It's up in the air. But it's Christmas Eve. Y'all not even gonna who's watching the podcast on Christmas Eve? I know it ain't gonna be mine. So it's like let's not even bother. But yeah. Happy holidays. I'm gonna mention it again next week. There is still gonna be another episode next week. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be crazy other news. Hopefully next week I get the chance to actually play what is the game for Forspoken's demo, because I think I will be done with God of War by then. So I wanted to like play the demo before I go play Age of Calamity. So I might be able to tell you more about it. But yeah, the demo's out there. Go get it. It's free. It is 30 gigs. It's gonna cost you some space, but you get to try the game out. And yeah, any last words, man? I don't have anything else.
Enjoy all the games.
Enjoy them all. Yes, yeah. Buy them all if you can. Get all the Black Friday, end of the year sales if you can. And don't forget to wash the back of your ears. Do it for Christmas break, because y'all, you can't be up there in them pictures next to people with smelly bad ears. But yes, that's it. Happy holidays. I'll see you next week.